Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Sunshine. So back again with another Danny Boyle flick. This is starring Cillian Murphy again, and the soundtrack is done by John Murphy, who did the excellent 28 Days Later soundtrack. And like with 28 Days Later, there's this weird phenomenon where I've heard the music but I haven't seen the movie, so I already have a kind of emotional connection to the music before actually seeing the movie it's associated with, because these John Murphy scores are so good. They've been used in other things, other media around the place, so I've heard them before and I know they're really great. So when it shows up in the movie, it'll be a great treat, and I already have that kind of emotional connection to it. In terms of the actual plot, I know it's in space and it's something to do with the sun. It's like a group heading towards the sun to reset the sun, or there's something wrong with the sun. I mean, that's why it's called Sunshine, right? That's kind of what I think I know about it, but that's about it. I know it's Cillian Murphy. I don't know any of the rest of the cast, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this. So before we do, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get next week's video right now. You can also find polls, so you can vote for what's next, and you can find a full-length timer-based version of this, so you just sync up your own footage and watch along with me. I'm watching the Disney Plus version here. But yeah, let's just jump right in.
7 years ago, the Icarus Project sent a mission to restart the sun. But that mission was lost before it reached the star.
What do you expect when you name it Icarus? Come on now.
Our payload, a stellar bomb with a mass equivalent to Manhattan Island.
So drop the bomb and restart the sun.
To create a star within a star.
Restart the nuclear reaction if it's a nuke. Oh, their ship is it solar powered? It's got a reflector on it. That was cool, because we think it is zooming on the sun. It's actually the ship. So Earth is almost completely frozen over now. We're in a solar winter.
Strapped to the back of a bomb. My bomb.
Is it a suicide mission? It's called Icarus. Just fly it into the sun. It's a suicide mission. Is that what it is?
Please refilter the observation room portal.
Filter up or down, Dr. Searle?
Down.
So there's an AI controlling the ship. Is it going to be an evil AI?
You are observing the sun at 2% of full brightness.
Okay, yeah, obviously looking straight into the sun, especially at that distance, is no good.
4% would result in irreversible damage to your retinas.
So they have a screen that stops them seeing it at 4%.
3.1%.
I mean, it seems kind of pointless if you're also putting sunglasses on, because the sunglasses are acting as a filter too. Look at that. Just 3.1%, and it's that bright. If they're dealing with the sun, they can really play with exposure from a filmmaking perspective.
What is it, beef? Chicken. You don't like that?
Oh, Chris Evans, Michelle Yeoh, Benedict Wong.
This darkness is an absence of something. It's a vacuum. The total light envelops you.
Yeah, real stacked cast then, actually.
For the moment, we can still send package messages back.
Okay, so they might run into trouble communicating back with Earth, and that's going to cause problems, because if they can't communicate, they might finish the mission and Earth is already dead or something, you know? They've got a way to generate water, condensation, and grow food. Big journey, actually, isn't it? They said they were going for 7 months already.
By the time you get this message, I'll be in the dead zone. I don't need the message. I know everything you want to say.
I have this horrible feeling that these final messages are going to come back up later, in a flashback, as the character's dying. We're hearing this all again.
Which means you'll know we've succeeded about 8 minutes after we deliver the payload.
So they'll know 8 minutes after. Yeah, that's cool. How long will it take the Earth to recover, you know? Everything will just start to defrost and melt again. These close-ups of the eyes looking into the sun are really cool. The way it's glistening in his eyes.
Fuck, it took an hour in there! Stop! I can't send my package, the wind is too high! Mace!
Oh, okay. He spent a whole hour sending his message and now no one else can.
So how does this work?
Am I supposed to tell you about my childhood? Probably know more about your childhood than you do.
Oh, the therapist on board. Is he a bit of a hothead? That's kind of Chris Evans. He was kind of typecast into that a bit earlier in his career, wasn't he? Aggressive hothead, you know?
Earth room? 2 hours?
What's the Earth room? Is it like a projection? It lets them experience Earth for a little bit? But it's still not the same, right?
The waves make me feel peaceful.
Yeah, already this music is so great.
Again.
Is that like replaying a positive memory, or is it just like a preset thing? It's very dystopian though, having to have this Earth module thing.
Which by 1700 had turned into a minor asteroid storm.
Mark Strong as well. Was he on Icarus 1? So this is the captain. He's seeing what went wrong with the first Icarus, so he can make sure the mistake doesn't happen.
Tell him it was.
Really focusing in on eyes for some reason. And he was saying it was beautiful. We were seeing people, they love to just sit there and watch the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mercury.
There is something just so magical about space. You know, they must feel so insignificant seeing Mercury, and the music here just complements this moment perfectly. It must be just so surreal.
It appeared as we flew into the dark side of Mercury, the iron content of the planet is acting as an antenna.
Picked up an audio signal. Is it aliens? I'm not sure if this movie deals with aliens in any sort, actually.
Icarus 1.
Oh, it is.
That signal is their distress beacon.
They're still alive, or the ship is at least giving out the signal, the distress beacon.
It has stock to cover 8 people for 3 years. That's a 4-year shortfall. That's a hell of a diet.
Yeah, they could have fed 4 people for 6 years.
You're gonna pass right by them.
Within 10 or 15,000 miles.
So can they adjust to actually intercept them?
We could fly straight to them.
But we're not going to do that.
Why is he against that? Does he see it as like not important enough?
We have a payload to deliver to the heart of our nearest star. We're delivering that payload because that star is dying, and if it dies, we die. Everything dies.
But they're still going towards the sun, aren't they?
More important than completing our mission. End of story.
He's right.
There is something on board the Icarus 1 that may be worth the detour. As you pointed out, Mace, we have a payload to deliver. A payload, singular. Now,
Go get the second payload in case the first one goes wrong.
if we had 2 bombs, we'd have 2 chances.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Does the risk of a detour outweigh the benefits of an extra payload?
It's not like their trajectory is going away from the sun or anything. It's still going towards it. It might just take a bit longer. How much longer will it take?
So we're going to make the most informed decision available to us.
Our physicist.
Oh, so it's up to Robert.
Entering coronal hole in South Polar Cap. Magnetic field structure open.
But they are dropping it in a specific point at the solar cap.
Between the boosters and the gravity of the sun, the velocity of the payload will become so great, space and time will become smeared together.
Oh, yeah, okay, so there's just that much mass pulling it in.
2 last hopes are better than 1.
What is this, a nightmare or a vision? That sounds like Cillian Murphy. It sounds like him falling. It looks like him falling into the sun.
Let me guess. The surface of the sun?
So this is a repeating dream he's had?
Every time I shut my eyes, it's always the same.
So they're all having the same dream, but that feels like it's built out of a shared fear, because they're all going towards the sun, aren't they?
But it changes our angle of approach to the sun by 1.1 degrees.
You didn't reset the shields to the new angle.
Oh, so the shield isn't protecting them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Velocities and fuel calculations and
There's just too many things to think about. What does this mean though? Can they readjust them or what?
Trey,
Yeah, he needs to get his composure. What does this mean for them? Yeah, Benedict Wong's character, he needs to go see the therapist, he needs to talk this through. You know, he's definitely going to be feeling a lot of guilt putting them all in danger like that.
We've done this 1,000 times in Earth orbit training.
But it's his first time doing it properly here.
If you rotate by that much, we're gonna lose comm towers 3 and 4.
Well, it's a good thing we don't need them then.
Yeah, they don't need the comm towers because they can't send messages anyway. Yeah, so she needs to adjust it to give them a shadow. I'm guessing they can't be directly in the sunlight. Are they not tied in? There's no rope connecting them? They've just got a little jetpack. Yeah, why is everything shaking and creaking? That's not good.
That's a temperature change on the shields. Metal's just contracting and expanding.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's still ominous for them though, isn't it? And we're gonna see that go into the light and get burnt away. So like, that's how hot it is. It just like melts through any metal that's there.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, just like the engineering standpoint. How did they even get this whole thing off Earth, you know? It's huge.
There are 4 damaged panels.
Okay, only 4 damaged panels on that whole thing. Look at that though, like any adjustment, you could just burn them up, I guess. You know, it's only 4 panels that are damaged, but how many can they survive off? What's the margin for error? And they don't have a very good field of view through these suits either. It's just like this little letterbox they have to look through. Oh, the reflection. And it's just wiped out their plant supply, and that's their oxygen supply as well. Let's just wipe that out and they haven't even noticed. They needed to have like detached the comms tower or something. I don't know. That might not have been possible.
I think we're venting O2.
Resuming.
Oh, because they're venting O2, so the whole ship is like shifting round. That could put them into the sunlight.
Fire bar perimeter.
Ceiling sector. Ceiling feed.
Oh, she's not going to be locked in there, is she?
Second human confirmation required.
Copy. Mace.
Mace is not gonna do it.
No. Icarus, continue procedure.
Yeah, Mace, he's all about the mission, which makes complete sense. It's the state of humanity versus the state of them, these like 10 people on this ship.
Hazard diagnostic complete. Sprinkler system failing.
Sprinkler system failing as well. So their oxygen supply is just gone.
It'll cause a flashover, make it burn itself out.
We'll lose the whole garden.
We already lost it.
Yeah, Mace is definitely, you know, he's ready to make those difficult calls, right? I'm surprised they couldn't cut off oxygen to it and just starve the flame. Or is that what they were trying to do and that would have cost 6 hours?
89% of shield in full sunlight.
And the ones they're going to, they're closer towards the center where the sunlight's going to hit them first.
Kappa, go back.
He's going to sacrifice himself for Kappa.
Kappa, return to airlock. Do you copy?
Oh god, the music. Yeah, it's just so good.
Captain, you must leave now. Captain!
37% of shield.
He's not going to do it. Turning to face the sun.
What can you see?
Oh, that is gorgeous. Look at that. Wow. We've seen like how some people, they're almost like addicted to looking into the sun. Was that him looking into the sun fully in his like final moment like that as well? Kappa needs to get under it as well. That's that like wave of sunlight hitting them. That's really gorgeous. And combined with that music there, of course, that was amazing. I was expecting to get emotional, like, you know, we're only like half an hour in, we're not even halfway. That was just a beautiful moment.
We do not have enough oxygen reserves to get us to our payload.
Oh, really? It's not going to be the case where they have to kill off a few of the people so people can get there.
We now have no choice but to rendezvous with Icarus One.
Oh, they're forced to go to Icarus One now, okay.
There just isn't enough oxygen to get all of us there.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you suggesting we let Trey kill himself?
Yeah, that's exactly what I just thought. Are they going to let him to do it?
We need to lose 2 more.
3 people they need to lose. Are they actually going to suggest that? Surely you'd hold out hope for recovering Icarus One, though. Look at him. He's spending way too much time out there, right? He's like getting burns and things on his face. What are we seeing here? Is this... they've reached Icarus One already? I was a bit confused there. When they're that close, surely any survivors on Icarus One, there would have been like some communication between the 2 ships, right? Oh, what was that? See that quick frame of like someone smiling? And again, it looked like someone angry.
Anyone afraid of the dark? We should split up.
I'm surprised they came on here with just these suits on and not like a full suit, because they don't know if the airlocks are still working, if there's still air in the whole ship.
You head up for the flight deck, see if you can get her to fly.
Yeah, what are these flashes of faces? That face there, that looked almost like Kanada's face. Obviously, I'm only getting like a quick frame of it. That looked like Kaneda, maybe a bit younger. Is there going to be aliens here? There doesn't seem to be any sign of life, like human life.
How to see this? 7 years of unchecked growth.
So it's just fully grown, all of the plants.
It's an ecosystem working beautifully. I love you, Gordon.
It's not like developed its own ecosystem, developed its own life in there, has it? It's only 7 years though.
Subsystems are fine, solar harvest is fine, the ship should be up and running, except I'm not getting anything from the flight computer.
So there's like nothing wrong with the actual ship? They had everything they needed to survive.
No bodies.
Did they abandon ship or something? I mean, 7 years, that's enough time for the bodies to like decompose or something, right?
I am Pinbacker.
Okay, we're getting some video of what happened.
Our dreams are foolish. It is not our place to challenge God.
Look at him, he looks all beat up.
Without the mainframe, we can't fly. It's been sabotaged.
It's been sabotaged. Not that it's not working. Someone sabotaged it. They sabotaged like the electronics that look like a server room or something. Oh, these are the bodies. He's found the bodies.
He saw the light.
They burn themselves.
They just like let the shields go and burnt themselves all up in their observation room.
Ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust.
Stardust to stardust. Oh? What's happening? What's happening?
Guys, get back to the airlock now.
Can they take some plants with them or something?
We are floating free from you. Repeat.
Oh, they've like separated.
One of us isn't anyway.
Who's gonna be the one to go back here though? But that's their 3 people dead that they need for the oxygen, right?
Cap is taking it.
Oh, Cap has taken it because he's the one in charge of delivering the payload. That makes sense, actually.
You're a comms officer on a ship that has no means of communication.
I am the captain.
Yeah, technically he is. So this is where all this infighting starts now, yeah?
Get out of the chute!
No, it's the stake of humanity versus just the captain. It's nothing in comparison.
If you open your airlock and we line it up just right, he'll fire inside.
And so will we.
Oh, so they will just fling across, but...
Without suits.
So they will just freeze when they do it.
But we'll make it!
Get some insulation or something. It's like they might as well try if there's a slim chance of them surviving. If they could just insulate themselves. It's only 20 meters, but being that cold, even for a tiny amount of time.
One of us has to manually operate the seal.
Oh, what? Someone has to stay behind.
I get it. It's me. That's what you're all thinking?
he's the captain, you know, see the difference between Kaneda as a captain and Harvey as a captain. Kaneda, he was willing to sacrifice himself, but Harvey just completely isn't, he's too selfish. So it's going to be Seal who stays, but even if Harvey survives, there's going to be distrust with him now back on Icarus 2. Oh, one of them hit something. Who was that? Yeah, one's like, of course he's not going to make it in. It looks like Kappa got in, but the other two, I'm not sure. Oh, one grabbed on. Can he pull himself in? That might be it though. He might just be frozen. He just lost whoever that was.
I lost Harvey.
It was Harvey, okay. That's probably better though if Harvey's gone, to be honest. He was becoming a bit of a liability. And is Mace okay? Has Mace survived? Yeah, they need to heat him up so he doesn't get any frostbite, yeah. Oh, but... Oh, he just shatters. Wow. I was worried that Harvey's body was going to hit something out there and put something else in danger. Mace should be able to recover from the frostbite as long as he keeps warm, right? Oh, yeah, what's he gonna do? I didn't realize he was still alive in here. I thought that would have killed him. He's gonna go join the others in the observation room, isn't he? And burn up with them, with those other bodies, because we've seen how he likes the observation room.
Sorrel? We're leaving now.
And he's just gonna sit there as they move past.
Cassie and I were on the flight deck the whole time.
And I was with Kappa and Searle.
So someone decoupled it?
We lost 2 breathers. If Trey dies, we'll have the oxygen to make it to the delivery point.
Yeah.
I'll do it. We'll have a vote this time. Unanimous decision required. So, you know where I stand.
What, he's gonna kill Trey? I thought meant he was gonna take his own life for a second there. But Trey, he's the least valuable, I guess, because of his mental condition at the moment.
Cassie.
I know the argument. I know the logic.
Yeah, like logically it makes perfect sense, but emotionally it's difficult.
I'm sorry, Cassie.
He's gonna have to do it. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be Mace killing himself to kind of put his money where his mouth is, because he has always been willing to make these difficult decisions, but never when it's himself on the line. But that might still have to happen later on in the movie. Oh, he's in the human room, in the Earth room, watching birds fly. He's already done it to himself. Oh, that makes it easier on Mace, though.
Kaneda, Searle, Harvey, Trey. None of them would have happened if you hadn't diverted the mission.
No, I don't think it's not on his hands. Because it was Trey who made the initial mistake, right? Oh no, because he only made that mistake because they re-diverted, yeah.
Eslo, we need to limit our exertions.
Yeah, doesn't even care, really. But Trey still tried to manually kill the other ones that were on Icarus 1, right? I don't know why he would do that, though. If he was gonna kill himself anyway.
There are only 4 crew members.
Negative.
Affirmative. Icarus 4 crew, Mace, Cassie, Karzan, and me.
5 crew members.
Someone's alive?
Who's the 5th crew member?
Unknown? Is it someone from Icarus 1?
In the observation room.
Someone from Icarus 1 survived and went over, and they were the one who destroyed the airlock, who like fucked up the airlock. And he's gonna go, he can't go there on his own. All 4 of them need to be there. Has whoever it is killed themselves already in the observation room?
Are you an angel?
Is this Mark Strong?
Has the time come?
That sounds like him. And what he's saying, are you an angel? He was talking about God before.
It will come when just one man remains. Then the moment will pass.
It sounds like he's just gone crazy.
Man will be gone.
I love this imagery though, like all the bokeh, and it's just like you can't even see his figure. You can't see him. It's just this faint outline of his figure.
The last man, alone with God.
He believes he'll be the last surviving human. Yeah, he's like all burnt. He looks like Deadpool. He's like all burnt up. So is he like sabotage all of the missions so the humans on Earth will die and he'll be the last one? Oh, and he just burnt him up. Full sunlight. Oh, and he survived the full sunlight? I guess if he wasn't exposed to it for that long. We're not seeing him. We're not seeing his full self. We're just seeing like glimpses of him. And focusing in on the eye again. Where's the rest of the crew? And Kappa is like the most important because he's the one to deliver the payload.
You do not have authority to remove the mainframe panels from the...
He's gonna do the same that he did before, sabotaging the mainframe, the electronics. Does that mean that the payload can't be delivered now? Oh, there was some surviving plant. That means there's hope for more oxygen production though.
Icarus, patch me through to Mace. I have something.
There's a bit of hope just before she gets killed or something. Is he running out of air in this room too? And the lights are going off because the mainframe is down.
Anybody?
Oh, there's breathing. Someone else is there with him.
Kappa!
Oh, there he is. He's just sitting there. Are we ever going to get to see him in full? Or is it only going to be glimpses of part of him? It's really hard to follow. He feels almost like not human, you know? Just like with how burnt his skin is.
Mainframe is out of the coolant!
Even if you get it back in the coolant, it's too damaged now, isn't it?
Icarus is gonna burn out. Mace!
Mace, come in!
Oh, he's jumping in the coolant. We saw that before. He dropped something in here, didn't he? So he's going to manually pull them into the coolant. Oh, but that means he's seen her. Oh! She got a good stab on Pinbacker though. And she kind of died with the last hope in her hands, the flower. Yeah, the plant. Did Pinbacker like set her up like that? And so he sabotaged the last mission, right? But was it like, did he get them all to sit in the observation room and kill them like that? Or did they, was that a suicide?
You'll have to get to the bomb and detonate manually from the console.
Unlock the airlock, do you copy? Unlock the airlock.
I don't know how, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. And he's frozen again from the coolant, so all of the hypothermia, all the frostbite's going to get to him now, because it's like the second freeze when frostbite really takes hold, isn't it? Now he's jumping back in. Oh, did his leg just get caught on that? Okay, so there were 4 of them. I thought he'd already done it all. But so there's 2 more sections of the mainframe that you can't get. He's just gonna die there, freeze to death, or what?
Do it, Kappa!
Look at this, how much faith he has in Kappa now, when before he was so argumentative with him, he hated him for what he's done. But now he believes in him in his final moments. But how can Kappa even get out of this room though? Is he just gonna smash the window or something? So yeah, it feels like it's gonna be a suicide mission for all of the crew, isn't it? So it's blowing up the outside door, okay. Oh, and that's going to blow open that door. But that means the whole place is depressurized because the airlock's gone. Will that kill Cassie and Pinbacker as well, though? These shots from inside the suit are great as well. They're just like so claustrophobic, aren't they? Oh, here's the music again. Oh, it's just so epic. Just chills all over.
Only dream I ever have is the surface of the sun. Every time I shut my eyes, it's always the same.
Surface of the sun. So he's gonna fall into the surface of the sun with the payload. Oh, look at that. There's something just so majestic about movies set in space, with how insignificant and small the humans are in comparison to everything else. And the rest of the ship's burning up. I wish we'd actually got to see what happened with Cassie and Pinbacker though, if they'd both died. They must have both died when the air pressure went, right? But we didn't actually get to see that. Oh, so he's here as well? Pinbacker is still here? Oh, look at that. The way it's falling into the sun.
Cassie?
I didn't realize Cassie and Pinbacker were on this part of the ship.
He told me to take us all to heaven.
Yeah, so he's just gone crazy from looking into the sun for too long, being isolated too long. Ooh! It's ripping off his arm. This is like really disorientating to follow, really hard to follow. Like, these constant like freeze frames randomly, and of course it's all very shaky. You know, like stretched out this is as well. And gravity's working in kind of weird ways because they're getting so close to the sun. Is that what it is? It should surely just be pulling them all in even stronger. But if they're going in at an angle, I guess it makes sense. They're on a cube, right? And they're both like on different points of the cube, but if it's at an angle, so the point is like that, they're both being pulled in towards the sun. That's how they're both standing. That makes sense. And he needs to manually activate it. And we're gonna see before what he said before about it all lighting up how it did. Yeah, it's like all of these little sparks, little stars starting. Is that the surface of the sun, or is that this explosion being caused by the payload? And it's all gonna start melting, the sun's gonna come back, they're back on Earth.
So if you wake up one morning and it's a particularly beautiful day, you'll know we made it. Okay.
Just gonna see the sunshine on them. That was gorgeous, the sun coming back in the end there. Oh, written by Alex Garland. Okay. What an odd choice of song for the ending though. It's a really beautiful moment and we're just getting this like techno. It's an odd choice. Okay, so that was Sunshine. That was kind of a mixed bag. There was some stuff that I really, really loved and some stuff that didn't work quite as well for me. The stuff I loved, I really love all of the space stuff, you know, the grand scenes, the vistas, showing how small and insignificant humans are. All of that kind of stuff, that's all really great. The music complements that so well. John Murphy's music was just amazing. Of course, I'd heard the main theme before, but even some of the rest of it was great as well. And is John Murphy related in any way to Cillian Murphy, because they've worked on a few films together, or is that just a coincidence that they both have the same surname? That worked really well. And then I am a sucker for self-sacrifices, and I think space movies, they kind of lend themselves to that. So Kaneda's sacrifice, just everyone's was all really great. And then the stuff that didn't really work for me was the stuff with Pim Becker. I can understand it and I can see what they were going for, but I'm not sure if the execution was there, especially in some of the filmmaking around him. It's whenever he's on screen, suddenly the camera's super shaky and it's really hard to follow. I know Danny Boyle, he's quite experimental anyway, isn't he? We've seen that with Trainspotting and with 28 Days Later, especially with 28 Days Later, how he can kind of portray this kind of rapidness, this panic that some of the characters are going through. He can portray that really well, and I can see what he was going for with Pim Becker with that, but it just felt kind of out of place here in comparison to the rest of the film. And I do wish we maybe got a bit more information. That's one thing actually, usually exposition is seen as a negative. There's people usually complain that there's too much exposition, but I feel I could have done with a little bit more here actually, just so I could follow what was actually happening. Because there's some points where someone's doing something, they're really desperate, you can see the desperation on their face, and I'm not 100% sure why you're doing what you are doing, why you're putting in this code, why you're opening this door, what's the purpose of what you're doing. And because I don't know the purpose, I can't connect with that and feel the stakes as well. And at the end when Kappa, he was going over to the payload, I didn't realize that was where Cassie and Pim Becker were. I thought they were back on the rest of the ship and they had died in that. There were a few things that were a bit hard to follow, I guess. So I could have done with a bit more explanation of exactly what was happening, exactly what was going on. I feel maybe that's something on multiple rewatches, maybe you'll pick that up a bit more, or because what's happening because you've seen it before, maybe that will be a criticism that kind of fades away a bit if you watch it multiple times. And the kind of the shock of the Pim Becker plot point, that isn't as big of a shock. The whole film is one of these realistic sci-fis. If you look 100 years into the future, you could theoretically see this happening, right? There's not aliens and things in there that are a bit too out there. But the Pim Becker stuff, it does feel a bit out there, especially how he survived. He almost felt a bit superhuman, how he survived some of these attacks with this burnt skin, and then he survived this 100% beam from the sun, and how he lifted up Kappa. There were a few things that made him feel almost supernatural, even though he was just a human. But I did like his personality and his philosophy. It was interesting, him seeing himself as this person who's going to deliver everyone to heaven, deliver everyone to God, and he wants to be the last person remaining to stand with God. It was a cool idea. I'm just not 100% sure if the execution worked for me. But then more stuff that I liked, with space movies, it always feels like they're trying to capture the human experience. We're seeing these different characters, they all have different ideologies. Mace is super into just getting the mission done, and then we see some characters like Harvey who are a bit selfish. We're seeing this spectrum of the human condition and how all of these characters clash when things come to head. Mace, he was really into getting things done, making sacrifices, and he did prove himself, jumping into the coolant, and it was basically committing suicide to try and get the mainframe up and running again. And then with Kaneda as well, he died quite early on actually, but that was a really great moment, seeing this kind of wave of the sunlight hitting him and him burning up in there. And we're seeing all of the psychological effects being isolated in space has on all of these people, especially with Pim Becker, how he kind of became addicted to the sun. We saw some of that with Seal and Kaneda as well, how they were spending a lot of time in the observation room. They could have potentially fallen down that same path, going insane, looking at the sun, just like Pim Becker did. It's just really great getting all of the connection. It's just a great method of delivering this really human story, these kind of space movies these space mission movies. They're really great at that. Yeah, some really great stuff here, especially with the music and the visuals, but the kind of third act, I guess, lets it down when Pim Becker gets introduced. It's still a cool concept. I feel like it could have worked, but it just didn't quite with this execution. So I think that's everything I had to say. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. And if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date for all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching.